All right, everyone, get ready for a deep dive. We're looking at a fascinating document from the Slovenian Ministry of Digital Transformation.
It's like their blueprint for a digitally driven Slovenia.
Yeah, and it's all in Slovene, but don't worry, we've got the key points for you.
It's actually really interesting how they're tackling this on not just the tech side, but like a complete cultural shift. They actually call it building a digital culture. Pretty ambitious, huh?
Ambitious is an understatement. They're aiming to bridge generational divides, boost everything from education and how the government operates to tourism and, get this, even national defense, with the digital twist, of course.
Yeah, and that's where it gets kind of interesting, how they actually plan to make all this happen.
Right, right.
For example, one of their key goals is bridging the digital divide.
Yeah.
Making sure everyone, regardless of age or how tech savvy they are, everyone's got to be on board with this.
Okay, so how are they gonna, pull that off? I'm picturing, grandmas learning to code. Is that what they're thinking?
Not exactly coding, but you're getting the idea. They're proposing like a big push for digital literacy, especially among seniors.
Oh, okay.
Think training programs, mentorship opportunities. Even they mentioned these dedicated regeneration centers where, older folks can get comfortable with all this technology.
Regeneration centers. I like the sound of that. Okay, let's talk specifics here. They mention Regeneracitsky Wotelji Mentorji, and I'm drawing a blank here. What is that all about?
Oh, yeah. That's where the Slovene gets a bit, tricky.
Yeah.
It basically translates to regenerative teacher mentors. Like, imagine tech-savvy young people paired up with, experienced mentors from older generations.
Oh, interesting.
It's this two-way street, youth sharing tech skills, seniors sharing, their wisdom.
A digital knowledge swap, that's actually really cool. I could see that working. But, bridging the gap is just one piece of the puzzle here. What about education in general? What do they have in mind? I mean, the document mentions some pretty bold ideas.
Yeah, they're not holding back. They're talking about central preparation of educational material, which basically means streamlining how educational content is created and then how it's distributed. And then there's the whole debate about mobile devices in school.
Oh, yeah, the screen time dilemma. Every parent's struggle. What's their take on that?
Well, they acknowledge the potential downsides, like, for example, social media's impact on mental health.
Right.
But they're not shying away from the benefits either. They see digital literacy as absolutely crucial for the future workforce. So it's this balancing act,
Yeah.
finding ways to promote digital literacy while at the same time mitigating those risks.
Makes sense. It sounds like they're trying to prepare kids for, I guess, a world where technology is just seamlessly integrated into everything.
Yeah, that's it. And it's not just about the kids either. There's a huge emphasis on training for teachers as well.
Oh, okay.
The document even mentions Zavod 404 and Mensa, which suggests some interesting collaborations there.
Wait, Zavod 404 and Mensa? Those names ring a bell, but I need a refresher here.
Okay, so Zavod 404 is like an educational organization that's really focused on technology. Think of it as a tech incubator for young minds.
Oh, okay.
And Mensa, they're known for their high IQ members.
Right. Right.
So it seems like the ministry might be tapping into their expertise maybe for talent development programs.
Okay, that's starting to paint a clearer picture. So they're revamping education. But what about, the way the government itself operates? Any exciting plans on that front?
Oh, absolutely. They're going, all in on what they call e-governance.
Okay.
We're talking, uPrivat, which is basically their e-government platform. Then there's e-Volitvar for, get this, e-voting. And then just this huge push for what they're calling interoperability between all the different government systems.
Interoperability, no, that's a mouthful. Break it down for me.
Okay, so imagine this. Right now, dealing with the government can feel like, navigating a maze, right? Each department with its own separate system. Interoperability means connecting all those systems so they can talk to each other, making things, smoother and more efficient for everyone.
Got it. So less bureaucratic maze, more digital highway. I like where this is going.
They even talk about things like, imagine interactive maps for reporting those, communal issues.
Oh, okay.
Think potholes, broken streetlights, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
You could actually pinpoint the problem on a map and report it directly to, whoever's responsible.
Interactive maps, that's actually really cool. And it's not just convenient. It's about, giving citizens a direct way to flag problems and who knows, maybe even track how quickly they get resolved.
Exactly. It's about increasing transparency and accountability. And it goes beyond just reporting issues. They're looking at interactive maps for everything. I mean, tracking infrastructure projects to applying for building permits, everything.
Wow, that's taking citizen engagement to a whole new level. But let's be real here. Can they actually pull all of this off? I mean, government IT systems, well, they're notoriously clunky.
They know that,
Yeah.
which is why they're planning like a major IT overhaul.
Oh,
They're talking about what they call state SaaS solutions. Basically moving away from all those separate, outdated systems to a more, centralized cloud-based approach.
okay. So less Lotus Notes, more, well, I guess modern solutions. But what does that actually mean in practice?
Think of it this way. Instead of filling out paper forms and waiting weeks for a response, you could handle, most of those government interactions online, quickly and easily.
Oh, great.
It's a big undertaking, but if they pull it off, it could be a much smoother experience, for everyone.
Yeah, that sounds promising. But I'm curious, what about the potential downsides? What are some of the risks they're considering?
Well, cybersecurity is a big one.
Yeah.
With more and more services moving online, the risk of cyber attacks definitely increases. They're aware of that
Yeah.
and have even included cyber warfare as like a key focus area, which we can get into later.
Okay, so cyber warfare, definitely a topic for another time. For now, let's switch gears and talk about something a bit more lighthearted. How about tourism? How does digital transformation play into their plans for, I guess, attracting visitors?
They definitely see like all those digital channels as key to boosting tourism. They're talking about leveraging platforms like Booking.com and Airbnb, which are already, well, hugely popular, to make it easier for tourists to discover and book experiences in Slovenia.
So making Slovenia more visible in the digital travel world. Smart. But I'm guessing they're not stopping there. What about this Feel Slovenia initiative? What's that all about?
Yeah, Feel Slovenia seems to be all about showcasing the country's unique culture and experiences, through targeted digital campaigns. Think stunning visuals like captivating stories and all that interactive content that really brings Slovenia to life, but online.
I'm already sold. I need to book a trip, like ASP. But I was also intrigued by this, their plan for a sandbox for IT solutions in sport. What's the game plan there?
Think of it as a testing ground for all this cutting-edge technology in the sports world.
Okay.
They specifically mentioned Kranjska Gora, which is a popular ski resort, and the Pukowa Triangle skiing competition. So it sounds like they're looking at things like AI-powered video analysis to enhance, performance and potentially even create these like virtual training experiences.
AI for skiing, now that's something I can get behind. But seriously, that's pretty innovative. They're not just talking about digitizing existing processors. They're looking at how technology can, really push the boundaries of what's possible in sports.
Right. And it's not just about improving athletic performance either. They're also exploring how these technologies can be used to make sports like more accessible and more engaging for everyone. Think virtual reality experiences for fans or interactive training programs for, aspiring athletes.
So they're aiming to make Slovenia, like this digital sports hub, attracting athletes and fans alike. That's a bold vision. But we've only scratched the surface here. What other exciting areas are they tackling?
Well, one that caught my eye was they plan to use data and analytics to improve, government services and decision-making.
Oh, okay.
They're talking about analysis of transport and data and the need for, predictions based on real-time information.
So like data-driven decisions.
Yeah, exactly. But not quite self-driving buses or, traffic lights that predict congestion. Not yet, at least. But they're looking at things like using real-time data to, for example, optimize public transportation routes and schedules, or predict and respond to traffic jams and accidents, even personalized transportation recommendations based on, individual needs.
So imagine an app that tells you the best way to get across town, taking into account traffic, weather, and, your preferred mode of transportation. That's pretty neat.
Exactly. It's about using data to make transportation systems, well, smarter and more efficient.
Yeah.
And it goes beyond just transportation, too. They're looking at, these data-driven approaches for everything: urban planning, infrastructure development, you name it, even resource management and environmental protection.
It sounds like they're trying to build a smarter, more responsive government that can, anticipate and address challenges before they even arise. But where does all this data come from, and how do they ensure its accuracy and reliability?
Right. That's where SCRs comes in. That's the Statistical Office of the Republic of Slovenia. They play a key role in, collecting, analyzing, and disseminating all that data that informs government decisions.
Okay, so they're like the data gurus, making sure the government's working with, well, accurate information. That's good. But all this talk about data, it raises some important questions about privacy and security. How are they addressing those concerns?
They're definitely aware of the potential risks. The document really emphasizes the need for strong data protection measures and transparent data governance practices. They're talking about implementing robust cybersecurity protocols, ensuring compliance with data privacy regulations, and really fostering this culture of data responsibility within the government.
It's good to hear they're taking privacy and security seriously. But we've only just begun to explore this, fascinating document. There's so much more to unpack. We'll delve deeper into their plans for healthcare, cybersecurity, and combating misinformation, all in our next episode. So stay tuned.
Picking up where we left off, their approach to data is actually really interesting.
Oh, yeah.
It's not just about crunching numbers. It's about making that data accessible and, actually meaningful to the public.
Right. They mentioned using infographics. So it's like they want to turn data into something people can actually understand and, engage with.
Exactly. Instead of just, those dry reports.
Right.
They're talking about, visually representing data.
Okay.
Highlighting, trends and insights that can actually inform citizens and, even shape public discourse.
That's a huge shift from the way governments typically communicate.
Right.
It's like making data, I don't know, more digestible, more relatable, and ultimately, more impactful.
And it all ties back to their goal of creating this digital culture.
Yeah.
They're not just implementing technology. They're trying to change, I guess, how people think about and interact with information in this digital age.
Speaking of digital culture, let's talk about their approach to healthcare.
Okay.
The document mentions interoperability of patient data.
Yeah.
Which, that sounds like a real game changer.
Yeah. It could be, imagine a world where no matter which doctor or hospital you visit, your medical records are, readily available.
Right.
It would streamline care, reduce errors, and really empower patients to take control of their own health information.
That's the dream. No more, carrying around stacks of paper records or trying to remember every detail of your medical history.
Right.
But how realistic is all of this? Healthcare systems are, notoriously complex.
Yeah.
And, data sharing can be a really sensitive issue.
Yeah, they acknowledge those challenges.
Okay.
But they're not, shying away from them either.
Okay.
They're talking about implementing these secure data sharing platforms, establishing clear consent protocols, and addressing concerns about, privacy and confidentiality head on.
So it sounds like they're trying to strike that balance between innovation and patient rights, which is, that's essential.
It is.
But they're not just focused on, I guess, digitizing those existing healthcare processes, are they?
Not at all. They're also exploring the potential of artificial intelligence.
Oh, wow.
Particularly at the Faculty of Sport.
Okay.
It seems like they're looking at how AI can be used to analyze athletic performance, prevent injuries, and even personalize, training regimens.
AI for athletes. Now, that's something I can get behind.
Right.
But it raises the question, could those same AI applications be used in healthcare more broadly?
That's exactly the kind of, cross-sector thinking that they're encouraging.
Okay.
The expertise they develop in, sports tech could potentially be applied to healthcare as well.
Right.
Leading to breakthroughs in areas like diagnostics, treatment planning, and even, personalized medicine.
That's actually pretty exciting. It's like they're building this digital ecosystem where innovation in one area can just spark progress in all these other areas.
That's it. They're breaking down silos and encouraging collaboration between different sectors.
Okay.
They even mention the Faculty of Computer and Information Science, FRI, as a key partner in their AI initiatives.
Oh,
okay. Which suggests a strong link between research and practical application.
So it's not just about, developing cool technology. It's about finding ways to use that technology to, I guess, address real-world challenges, whether it's improving, athletic performance or transforming healthcare.
Exactly. And speaking of real-world challenges, we can't forget about cybersecurity.
Oh, right. Yeah.
We touched on this earlier, but it's such a critical issue in today's digital landscape.
Right. They mentioned cyber warfare, which sounds pretty intense.
It is.
Are we talking hackers in dark rooms launching digital attacks here?
Well, it's not quite that dramatic.
Okay.
But it's definitely a growing concern. They recognize that as more and more government services move online, the risk of cyber attacks increases.
Right.
So they're talking about, developing this dedicated, cyber warfare division within the Ministry of Defense
Wow.
to really strengthen their defenses and protect critical infrastructure.
So they're taking like a proactive approach rather
Yeah.
than waiting for, I guess, something to happen.
Exactly.
But what does that actually look like?
It's about investing in cybersecurity expertise,
Right.
developing, robust defense strategies, and collaborating with, international partners to share intelligence and best practices. They even mention Google prediction of floods as a potential application of their cybersecurity efforts.
Wait, Google prediction of floods. What does that have to do with cybersecurity?
Well, it's about recognizing that cyber attacks can target not just, digital systems,
Right.
but also physical infrastructure.
Oh, okay.
Imagine hackers disrupting, early warning systems for natural disasters.
Oh, wow.
That's where Google's predictive capabilities combined with, strong cybersecurity measures could play a vital role in, mitigating those risks and protecting lives.
I hadn't thought of it that way. It really shows how interconnected everything is becoming in like the digital age. But let's shift gears for a moment and talk about something that's been like a recurring theme throughout this document,
Go ahead.
bridging the digital divide. They seem really passionate about, ensuring everyone has access to the opportunities of the digital age.
It's definitely a top priority for them.
Yeah,
They recognize that in today's world, digital literacy is essential,
right.
and they're committed to making sure, no one is left behind.
But it's more than just having access to the internet, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Mm.
They're talking about a multi-pronged approach
Okay.
that includes, distributing laptops to those who can't afford them, expanding digital training programs, and establishing these digital points in communities across the country.
Digital points. What are those exactly?
Think of them as like community centers for the digital age.
Okay.
Places where people can access computers, get online, and participate in, training programs to develop their digital skills.
So it's about creating like this supportive environment where everyone feels, empowered to embrace technology regardless of their age, their background, or, their technical expertise.
Exactly. And they're not just targeting individuals either. They're also working to bridge the digital divide between, urban and rural areas,
Okay.
ensuring that everyone has access to, high-speed internet and digital resources.
That's crucial. In today's world, reliable internet access isn't a luxury. It's a necessity.
Yeah.
But it's not just about the infrastructure, right? It's about creating this culture where everyone feels, I don't know, comfortable and confident using technology.
Right. And they're not just talking about it either. They're setting concrete goals.
Yeah.
They aim to have like 400,000 people using digital public services by a specific date.
400,000 people, that's a lot of digital users.
It is. It's ambitious, but it shows they're serious about making, digital inclusion a reality.
But achieving that goal requires more than just, I guess, government initiatives, right?
You're right. They recognize the importance of collaboration,
Okay.
and they're calling on businesses, NGOs, and community organizations to join them in their efforts.
So it's like a collective effort.
Yeah.
Everyone working together to create a more, I guess, digitally inclusive society?
Right.
Right.
But let's not forget about, the economic side of things.
Yeah.
Digital transformation isn't just about, social good.
Right.
It's also about driving economic growth and competitiveness.
Absolutely. And the ministry has some pretty innovative ideas for, fostering this thriving digital economy. They're talking about creating a sandbox for IT solutions in sport, leveraging their strengths in tourism, and fostering those, close collaborations with universities.
Right.
Okay, let's unpack that a bit.
Okay.
The sandbox for IT solutions in sport.
Yeah.
Sounds intriguing. What's their vision there?
Remember we talked about Krenchkagora and the Pokal Vitrink skiing competition?
Yeah.
That's where they're envisioning this sandbox. It would be like a dedicated space for startups and tech companies to, test and pilot new technologies in a real-world setting.
So think of it like a playground for sports tech innovation.
Yeah.
With, cutting-edge technology being tested and refined in one of Slovenia's, I guess, most popular ski resorts. That's pretty cool.
It is.
But how does that translate into actual economic growth?
By creating this sandbox, they're hoping to attract investment, foster entrepreneurship, and position Slovenia as, a leader in the sports tech industry.
Okay.
It's about creating jobs, generating revenue, and building a reputation for, innovation.
Smart move. It's about leveraging, their existing strengths,
Yeah.
in this case, tourism and sports, and like injecting them with a dose of, digital innovation.
Right.
But what about the role of universities? How do they fit into this whole digital economy equation?
Universities are seen as like these key partners in this endeavor.
Wait,
They're talking about strengthening collaborations between, academia and industry,
right.
supporting, research and development, and fostering this pipeline of, skilled workers to meet the demands of the digital economy.
So it's about creating this virtuous cycle where like research leads to innovation,
Yeah.
which leads to economic growth, which in turn fuels more investment in, research and development. It's a win-win for, everyone involved.
Exactly. And it's not just about those high-tech industries either.
Right.
They also recognize the importance of, digital transformation in more, I guess, traditional sectors like tourism.
Yeah, we talked about the Feel Slovenia initiative earlier.
Right.
They're going beyond like it's marketing campaigns, right?
Yeah, they're looking at how data and, digital tools can be used to enhance the whole tourist experience.
Okay.
From like personalized recommendations to seamless, booking and payment systems.
So they're trying to like smooth out that entire experience from start to finish.
Yeah. They are even talking about using, automatic cameras for video analysis to enhance sporting events.
Oh, wow.
And create a pro sports destination. It's about leveraging technology to make Slovenia, a more attractive destination for both, athletes and spectators.
So whether you're like a hardcore skier or just a casual fan, they're finding ways to use technology to elevate the whole experience.
Right. And it all comes back to this idea of creating a digital culture.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know? It's about changing mindsets, fostering collaboration, and empowering citizens to really embrace the opportunities of the digital age.
It's like a cultural shift.
Yeah, they even acknowledge the importance of, communication and shaping the narrative around digital transformation.
Oh, that's right. They mentioned media exposure and preparation of speeches as like key strategies.
Yeah.
It's not just about, doing the work. It's about communicating the vision, getting people, excited about all the possibilities.
And they're not limiting themselves to, just domestic audiences either. They're also talking about international cooperation and diplomacy, recognizing that digital transformation is, well, a global phenomenon.
It's about sharing, best practices, learning from others, and, building those partnerships to shape a more inclusive and sustainable digital future for everyone.
Exactly. And this document, even in its, brainstorm format, gives us a glimpse into how they're approaching this, this complex and evolving challenge. It's a reminder that digital transformation is not just about technology.
Right.
It's about people. It's about how we use technology to improve our lives, our communities, and our world.
Well said. We've covered a lot of ground here from, e-governance and healthcare to cybersecurity and, the digital economy.
Yeah.
But there's one crucial topic we haven't really touched on yet.
Oh, yeah.
Combating misinformation and, protecting those vulnerable populations online.
That's a big one.
It is. We'll delve into that, that fascinating and timely issue in our next episode.
Diving into this last part on misinformation, it's interesting how the ministry is approaching this, from a place of empowerment rather than restriction.
Oh, that is interesting. What makes you say that?
Well, they're not just talking about, censorship or cracking down on fake news. It's more about education, critical thinking, and media literacy. Those are, their main weapons.
So it's about giving citizens the tools to tell fact from fiction, to be smart about navigating the digital world. I like that approach. It's more about empowering people, not just telling them what they can and can't see.
Exactly. They even use the word propaganda, which I know might sound a little, intense, but they seem to be talking about using those persuasive techniques, but for good, to promote positive online behavior and counter all that misinformation.
Okay, so think public awareness campaigns that encourage, critical thinking, checking facts, and sharing responsibly online, using the same tools that spread misinformation to fight back, but with a positive message.
Exactly. They also talk about the need for reliable news portals, ones that provide accurate and unbiased information, creating those trusted sources that people can turn to when there's so much misinformation out there.
That makes sense. I mean, anyone can publish anything online these days, so having credible sources more important than ever. But they're not naive about the challenges, right? The document also mentions finance loss due to online scams.
No, They definitely get it. They recognize that misinformation isn't just some, abstract problem. It has real consequences.
Right.
People are losing money, falling victim to scams, making decisions based on things that aren't even true.
So what's the plan then? It seems like it's constantly changing, with new scams and misinformation tactics popping up all the time.
They're suggesting this multifaceted approach. First, using data analysis to understand the problem, like really understand it. Who's being targeted? What tactics are they using? What's the financial impact? All of that.
So it's about getting the full picture before jumping into solutions. Data-driven decision-making, it's everywhere.
Right. Then there's the information piece, like public education campaigns to raise awareness about the dangers of misinformation and scams. Think, tips for identifying fake news, recognizing phishing attempts, protecting your information online, that kind of thing.
Giving people the knowledge to protect themselves, that's key. But what about those who are already victims of scams? They mention help, so it seems like they're thinking about support services too.
Yeah, they're not just focused on preventing it. They're also talking about providing support and resources to those who've been affected. Things like, financial assistance, legal aid, even counseling to help people cope with, the emotional impact of being scammed.
It's a way more holistic approach, recognizing that this problem has so many layers to it. It's not just shutting down the misinformation, it's about creating a safer online environment overall. But that's going to be a huge task.
It is, and it needs everyone to work together.
Yeah.
They're calling on, everyone, tech companies, media organizations, even individual citizens, to play a part in this.
It's a team effort. We all have a responsibility to think critically, check our sources, and be responsible about what we share online. But beyond what we do as individuals, what role does the government play in all of this?
They see themselves as like a facilitator, an enabler, and a protector. They're talking about creating regulations that encourage responsible online behavior, supporting research in areas like, AI and media literacy, and working with other countries to tackle this globally.
So setting the stage, providing the tools, and fostering that culture of digital responsibility, it's a big challenge, but it's one they seem ready to take on.
Yeah, it really aligns with their whole vision of a digital culture where technology helps people and makes society stronger.
We've covered so much in this deep dive. E-governance, education, cybersecurity, combating misinformation. It's a lot. The Slovenian Ministry of Digital Transformation has this whole roadmap for their digital future, and it's impressive.
It really is. Full of new ideas, practical solutions, and a deep understanding of, everything the digital age brings, both good and bad.
And while it's specific to Slovenia, I think any country dealing with digital transformation can learn something from this.
Definitely. That focus on inclusion, collaboration, and a human-centric approach to tech, that's something everyone can benefit from.
So as we wrap up, what's the one big takeaway you'd want our listeners to think about?
I'd say this. Digital transformation isn't just about the technology. It's about us, the people. It's about using technology to give people more power, make communities stronger, and create a better future, a more inclusive, fair, and sustainable one for everyone.
Well said. And with that, we'd like to thank you all for joining us on this deep dive into Slovenia's digital vision. We hope you found it as insightful as we did. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring.